So hello everybody. Today I'm going to take you on a tour of my sewing machine. I have a John Lewis, a JL110. It's a special edition. They're special editions because I think they break them out in different colours. But I bought it about, 6 or 7 years ago now, and I absolutely love it. It's very simple, it's very basic. At the time they were retailing about £100. I think they're now up to about 130. I think for the money it's well worth it. I did a check on which when I was going to buy an overlocker, and they were talking about sewing machines, and John Lewis actually came in the top 3, these sewing machines, and they are considerably cheaper than a lot of other brands out there. So if all you're looking for is a very basic machine, I would recommend this. Okay, so let me take you through it. It's a standard sewing machine. Comes with instructions. Ta-da! Always keep your instructions. You never know when they might come in handy. Okay, so there we have it. On the front here we have our stitch selector and our length, stitch length dials, these 2 dials. So these are quite important, and I will zoom in on those. There we are. Okay, so here you can see they've got letters on them, and they correspond to these letters over here. Okay, the top line are this selector dial, the bottom line are what's known as special stitches, and you get to them by turning the length dial up to SS, which is the special stitch. Okay, so mine is ordinarily set to A, which is just a straight stitch where the needle's in the middle of the presser foot. I often use C, which is a zigzag stitch, and D, which is a triple zigzag, which tends to be good for stretch fabrics. And the special stitches down below is A is a triple straight stitch, again for stretch fabrics. D is for smocking, and G, which is known as a lightning stitch, is also useful for the edge of fabrics when you're sewing stretch fabrics together, if you don't have an overlocker, that is. Okay, so around the side here, I'm just going to take the camera off. Okay, I'll go back to the length dial. I generally have mine set at around 2.75 millimeters, between 2.5 and 3, and that's what I find is useful. Okay, so around the corner here we have the on-off switch. That's what takes you down to your foot pedal, and this is the balance wheel, and it, when you turn it, when you switch it on and turn it, it makes the needle go up and down. Okay, and that's useful for if you want to hand crank things. Sometimes if fabric's a bit thick at points, I tend to hand crank them through. It saves me breaking needles. I have broken quite a few needles that way. Okay, on the top, so these little buttons here, this little here is, this is where you wind your bobbin on. Okay, so that's the bobbin winder spindle, and that's the bobbin winder stopper. You got your spool spindles at the back here, which you can pop up to put your spool on. You've got a handle which is neatly recessed, which I find quite nifty. That's the thread guide for when you're winding bobbins on. That's your thread guide for when you're threading your sewing machine on the top thread. You have your tension dial here. That's how tight your fabric is, how tight your thread is when it's going through the machine. You can adjust that depending on the fabric that you need. To be honest, I struggle with that quite a lot with tension, so I tend to have it on 5. I generally just use cottons. I'm just sewing with cottons a lot, and even the cotton jersey and French terry that I sew with in stretch fabrics manages well on 5. Okay, that's your thread uptake lever. Okay, and down here is your needle, your presser foot, and your feed dogs for passing the fabric through. Okay, if we take the extension table off, you'll see under this here is where your bobbin is. This is a front loading bobbin. I'll see, ooh, a bit out of focus. Okay, we just take it out like that, and you can see it's got a special finger on it, and that's so you can pop it back in casing and it fits neatly, and that's your casing there. Okay, one other thing is this switch here on the front. That's so you can do a back stitch. So there are all the basics. Let's now go and thread our sewing machine and wind a bobbin on.